Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Multi-Millionaire podcast. This is episode 12. I'm your host, Ashish Takal.
And I'm your host, Sogat Pradhan.
And in today's episode, we have Preston Weeks, who is an entrepreneur, business coach, mindset coach, and a philanthropist. Welcome, Preston.
Welcome to the
Thank
podcast,
you.
Preston.
Yeah, thank you, guys. It's great to be here.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Do you want to take it on, Sogat?
Yeah, Preston. I never met you before. I haven't talked to you before. Why don't you tell us about yourself and our audience about what you do and where you're living and things like that? Let's begin with that.
Yeah, well, a little bit about myself. I am a serial entrepreneur at heart. So I started, like all entrepreneurs, trying to solve a problem. So I was trying to pay my way through college.
Right.
And so I loved cars. And so I started buying and selling cars. And then by the time I graduated, I actually couldn't get a job that paid me more. So I started car dealerships and different things like that. And it evolved from there. And ended up owning and co-owning 15 different car dealerships and multiple verticals from that. And then went on to run a number of different companies. I was recruited into a renewable energy company. But now I say I build two things. I build people and I build companies.
Mm-hmm.
I do back-end growth for business people, entrepreneurs, solutions that are kind of out of the box to help provide strategy. And then Formula EQ, which is the building people. So I build people from the foundation up to make people powerful people so that they can go and change the world, because I can only do so much by myself, and I want to make the world work for 100% of humanity. And so that's my plan to do it right now.
Okay. So you started a car flipping business when you were in college, and now you run multiple dealership. And when you talk about, like, helping those people, are you talking about like being a life coach, or is that something like similar to that?
Yeah. So the two different sides. When I help the people, I run an academy. I have my business partner in London.
Yeah.
And so we do a live meeting every single week. We do basically a workshop. It's kind of like a master class. It's based on the emotional intelligence. It's something about the core of you. So last week it was about living a limitless life. This week it's about taking a life of action. It's about being able to respond to the things that are around you. And it's that base, that teaching people to be strong people. I do some coaching and some one-on-one work with people, but that's it. If you look at studies and different things that are out there, there's studies that show they did a study with 64,826 business owners.
Mm-hmm.
And they determined that the number one determining success factor for business owners and entrepreneurs is emotional intelligence.
Yep.
It's not what you know, it's the ability to show up. It's the ability to respond to challenges like we're seeing now in the market today as it tanks and we head into a recession, which is what I see happening. But you look at that and you go, okay, how do you respond to that? How do you deal with that? How can I see opportunity when there's crisis? And if you can be that type of person, then you can be someone who succeeds in any type of situation.
Right.
The situations always change.
100%.
It's always going to be a variable. So if you can be that powerful person, so that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I was gonna ask Sogat. So you mentioned that you went to go look for a job, and then it didn't pay you well, Preston, and what's something that motivated you so hard enough to actually go out there as an entrepreneur and say, like, you know what, I'm gonna solve a problem, and that problem is, I'm gonna flip cars and I'm gonna help people get cars, right? And so you're solving a problem there. So, like, what made you want to do that? Because entrepreneurship journey is not an easy journey, you know what I'm saying? So it's a hard journey.
No, it's not. It's not an easy journey, and it takes a different type of person, but it's so needed too. And so I found that in myself, kind of as being someone who wanted a little bit more. Ever since I was a little kid, actually, I've kind of been a serial entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was in like second grade. I would buy the most popular bulk candy and I'd bring it to school, and I would sell the candies for 25 cents each. I make like $5 off a bag of candy, and I thought I was rich. As a little kid, and making like $5 a day, and but that, like, I had that fire and I had that passion, but it's that drive that I wanted more. I didn't want to be limited, I didn't want to settle for an hourly rate. I wanted to have quantum growth. I wanted to have bigger visions, and to be able to accomplish my goals and what I wanted to do in life personally, I was willing to take that risk. I was willing to step over the edge and go, okay, it's more important for me to accomplish my goals and my dreams and my vision than it is for me to be comfortable today. And part of that is what I really think of that is being in alignment with yourself, because you have to be in alignment with yourself. What I mean by that is that you believe in what you're doing. You have to be, and that what you're working on is actually in line with who you are. And so I was selling cars, but I wanted to help people. So how do you make the gap, right? How do I make the gap mentally? But I was providing transportation for people. I was providing good deals for people. I was providing safe, accessible resources for people to haul their family so they can go to work, so they can make money, so that they could exist in the economy today. I was providing jobs for the people around me that I loved. I employed people that I never thought I would employ. We were rocking, we were doing good. So I'm employing my family, I employed aunts and uncles and these people that I looked up to as a kid as my role models, and never thought that I would be employing them. And it made that happen. But that was so gratifying to me, because it was like, okay, that's my alignment. That's like my mission. And so for all the entrepreneurs out there, they're thinking like, why do I do this? This is insane. I've got like an 80% failure rate. I've got all the odds against me. If you don't believe in it, if you're not in alignment with you, if it doesn't light you up, then when you get a year down the road, 2 years down the road, then it starts to be tough. It starts to be a grind, and then you change and you pivot. But if you can find something that is in that alignment with yourself and who you really are as a person, then, or find that attachment, like I was saying, to what you're doing with your personal self, then, and you can do that in a lot of different occupations or a lot of different ways, then you can actually be successful. And then you'll connect to it. Your passion will be behind it. And then you'll have the energy to wake up and go, when it's tough. And then you won't be one of those 80%, of the other people that don't make it. You'd be the person that pushes past.
100%.
Yeah, that's really great. And going back to how you're helping out your clients or even your students, whatever, it's really great that you're doing that, because a lot of business owners, they have goals, but they just don't know how to get to that goal. They get pushed back, they get objection, right? And like when the process comes, they get objected, and then they just fall back, right? Like how you talk about when the market is changing, how are they going to react? So that's really great that you're doing that, helping that out, holding their hands and showing them the path and like where to go and what kind of steps to take to get to that goal, right? How long have you been doing that? How long have you been teaching others to become successful, like to get to their goal?
Yeah. Well, in my life, it actually started back kind of in my own organization, because I ran sales teams. So for the last, while I was running car dealerships. So at one time I was running 9 car dealerships at the same time. I had a sales team of about 60 people. And so I would have a meeting every single Monday with the team. And I was there to motivate and inspire, those people to go out and serve, the clients and do more and to create more in their life and to also help the business grow. And so that was my first step in that. And so I ran these live sales meetings for like 6 years to these people every single week. And I had to come up with a topic, and I had to come up with the inspiration and bring food and stuff, get everyone excited to launch them throughout the week. But then that as I exited the car business and got into these other different avenues. But when I started doing that, I started working. What I found out was, interestingly enough, is not only was I a good salesperson, but I was good at understanding humanity and people. And through my own challenges, I actually came up with a way to overcome very difficult challenges, very difficult trauma in people's life. So I started coaching CEOs one-on-one, and I started working with the CEOs one-on-one. They'd hire me and I'd work with them. I'd help them to overcome all the challenges that they're dealing with personally in their life through this process I developed. And what I want to do is reverse engineer it and go, how do I take this where I'm changing people's lives? I'm changing CEOs' lives. They're rich people that can afford me and I'm making lots of money, but how do I make an impact on everyone? How do I actually make it accessible? to everyone? How do I redesign it where I can actually make a massive impact on people, make it affordable, make it reachable for humanity, but create real change in people, not just a motivational talk, but something that actually makes permanent, lasting change. And so that's what morphed into trying to solve that problem. It was the challenge. What's my goal of Formula EQ? So Formula EQ, that's what the challenge we set out to solve was, and that's what we've done. So it's awesome.
That's really awesome. And I feel like a lot of people need those kind of people in their life to mentor them and show them the path and coach them, right? So it's really great that you do that.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you this too. Not a lot of people need it. Everyone needs it.
Everyone, yeah.
Not everyone recognizes that they need it. Because it's the human nature. We need support around us. So I can see, like, if you talk about optics, right? I can see, like, whatever, my vision, I can see both hands. If I'm spreading out, okay, I can see both hands in my peripheral vision, right? And I can see everything in front of me. But once I get right here, I can't see my hands anymore.
No.
That's how life is. There's things in life that we can't see that's happening around us. It's changing our life. And if we have support teams around us, if we have coaches, if we have, these different things that recenter us back in life, then we can have a support team. We can have it acts like a mirror to go, okay, this is what's happening and this is what's happening. Well, I want views all the way around me. I want to know as much as possible about what's happening. So I surround myself with people that are living and being the way that I want to be.
Yeah.
And if I surround myself with those people and they're helping me as my coaches, my mentors, my team, my business partners, then it's helping me to live the life that I want to live.
Absolutely.
Preston, and so I want to mention something. Like, I love what you said there, because you become the 5 people you surround yourself with. I highly believe in that. And then that's something that I have always lived by, and I always surround myself who try to motivate me and really put me to the next level. Because in today's generation, what we see is that there's often going to parties, drinking beer and doing all that, smoking, our age, right? So God, we have seen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've seen it a lot.
100%. And it's like, what am I trying to do and what am I trying to accomplish, right? That's something that I think about, firmly, like in the beginning. And then after I do that, then I look at, like, who am I surrounding myself with? Because that's the person that I'm going to become, either now or in the future endeavors, right? And so I had a decision to make, right? Preston, I was in Boy Scouts, do I hang out with these people, the people that's, in my group who's doing, all that? Or do I go out there and learn the skills that I learned from Boy Scouts and be the person that I want to be, or be a leader? That was my main focus, right? And so I went to that direction, and, and that's something that I want to, say on top of what you said, because it is so important and so, crucial to not follow someone, all the time, but follow yourself and follow your vision, because at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, that's what you got to do, and so I just want to say that.
Yeah, man, that's a great point. Absolutely. And I want to go back to what Assis said. A lot of people are actually partying and drinking and smoking at this point of age, like even my age people, and even Assis, his friends. I used to have a lot of friends who were partying every day, drinking every day. They would invite me to those kind of events, right? But I had a goal. I wanted to reach to a point where I didn't have to work for someone else, right? So I still have that goal, and I believe firmly that I can make it. So that's why I don't even hang out with them anymore, and I hang out with people that have similar goal and mindset, just like I see here. So I hang out with those kind of people now, and here in my where I live right now, I don't really have that much people. So I have to surround myself with people all around the United States, because I'm actually a real estate agent, and I'm in a company where it's all virtual. So I have friends all virtually. We're all always on Zoom and talking about our goals and things like that. So I'm very happy that I'm like surrounded by those kind of people. So that's a great point Assis brought up there.
And me.
Yeah. Yeah, Assis too.
Well, no, it's and I love that you guys brought up, like, the partying and the different things like that, because it's true. And those things, they don't make you smarter. They don't make you better. They don't improve you.
No.
And that's true. And so it's that weight of, like, and what's wrong, what's right, what's good, what's bad, and I don't judge people, whatever. People make their own choices, and that's fine. And but but I look at that and I go, okay, if I put something that is retarding my mental processes, by consuming it, what's that doing in my life? What's that doing to serve me? What's that doing? And the more I understand about what I teach deeply, we don't just teach people ideas, we actually teach people mental programming. And so my business partners, he studied neurology and he's a brain scientist, and we study the brain and the function of the brain, and these processes in the brain are so powerful. And so when you do these things, they start to make changes in the brain, and even the people around you, the thoughts that we think actually create physical like pathways in the brain that get built. And the more you think those thoughts, the more that recurs, the easier it is to go back that way. And that's where mental processes become things like addiction, ADHD, ADD, mental disorders, anxiety, these things that build up inside of people because you're building that pathway of fear, you're building that pathway, whatever that is. But same thing, the brain's so powerful, and you put these things into it, slow your brain down or change your thinking, or you hang around people that make you think certain things that aren't supportive of your life. It's physically changing who you are. It's changing your ability to show up. And when you look at the high performers of the world, the difference between them and everyone else, the reason why people look at people like, oh, it's so easy. Why did he get this lucky break? Why did they get this? I don't get, I do the same thing. I'm smarter than them.
Right.
I know more than them. I did this, I did that. And when you get down to it, the difference is these repeating micro details. And it's a 1 or a 2% difference in life. The 1 or 2% difference in life that they're willing to not get drunk and have to sleep in the next day. They wake up at 5 o'clock every morning, no matter what.
Right. And I feel like
or whatever that is, kind of.
Yeah, I feel like most people do those kind of stuff just for temporary fun or temporary success, and they don't really think about what's gonna happen tomorrow. They don't really think about what's gonna happen in the upcoming future, right? So I think people really need to understand that if they have goals, if they have dreams, that they really need to think about it for the long term and not just for tomorrow or for later tonight, right? So that's absolutely good point you brought there too.
Yeah. Too many people are after these really quick things. That's like how society is. It's an immediate gratification of stuff, and that's what's easy.
Right.
But when you go after what's easy, it's making you weak, as a person. And so the more you can build up strength as a person to not live a life that's easy, the more you have strength to live a life that you want and no one else is controlling.
Right. Exactly.
Because if you're allowing temptation, if you're allowing, things like this, immediate things like this, then people are manipulating you. Life's manipulating you. Situations are actually controlling you. And those ways of living result in the end, after thousands and thousands and thousands of decisions we make, like, all these different decisions every single day, tens and tens of thousands of decisions. And they add up to something in the end. They add up to a destination. They add up to a personality. They add up to, this result. And it really does. It's true.
Yeah, Preston, I also want to say one thing. I talked to Sagat about this. The word uncomfortable versus comfortable, right? And so in today's generation, we're often taught to be comfortable in everything that we do, and so as an entrepreneur perspective, when you're feeling uncomfortable, you'll step down and become comfortable, and so we all have that phase. And especially when it comes to party life, or when you don't, you're not motivated to do certain thing, you want to be comfortable, with those things, and you want life to be easy for you. And so as an entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur perspective of an entrepreneur, if they're being uncomfortable, they'll go back to being comfortable. And it's those who, push through, being uncomfortable, that massive mountain, that massive Himalaya to being comfortable at that same pursuit that they're pursuing. And so when it comes to teenagers who want to do things, I personally feel like it's the mindset right here, and then how the brain works, as you said. And I also think that the two meaning of being uncomfortable versus being comfortable. I think those are the two key aspects of of a factor where it impacts a teenager. His
Yeah.
mind, whatever.
Yeah, it's just not even teenager, even like old folks and
Or yeah,
anyone that's trying to achieve something in life, right? So it's just not teenager. And
Yeah.
that's a great point too.
yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's universal. It's that thing with everyone. And what it is that you're talking about is change is difficult.
Yeah.
Change is hard. Change and so when people want to change, but they don't have enough internal desire to change, they have to have more desire to change than the opposition that's causing them to change. And so but anytime you grow in life, you're overcoming resistance. If you look at exercising physically, if you want to grow physically, if you want to build muscles, you have to have resistance. You have to have weights, and you pick them up, and you actually have resistance. That resistance pulls that muscle, and it causes pain and challenges, but then it stretches it and it builds and it's stronger. So next time when you're faced with that, you go, yeah, whatever, I can lift that easily now. And you've got that ability to handle that. But that's what resistance is when you're faced with that resistance, you have a choice. You have a choice to either rise up and push past that resistance. And by doing that, you build the strength. You build that ability to overcome whatever it is. And the more often you do that, the more you build that strength or that ability. When you look at psychological studies and neurological studies, when they create a new pattern, when they create a new pathway, what they've determined now is it takes about 64 days of daily repetition to actually create a new neural pathway. And so what that means, it's like 3 days of 21-day cycles is what they break it down to in different processes. But when you fire an electron in your brain, and then that sends that electrical chemical signal to another electron, and then it starts forging that path and building that strength. It builds that muscle. When you want to build a new habit, when you want to build a new characteristic, you do that daily for 64 days. So it's 3 21-day cycles, 63 days. 64th day, you've built yourself a new actual physical muscle, basically, ability. It's actually mental programming in your brain. And then once if you keep supporting that, then it just grows. And it's like if you have a pathway through hiking. I love to hike through trails and stuff. You see as pathways, and you go down some, there's like a lot of weeds and a lot of brush. It's like, now I'm forging to the path. Well, now these people walk it all the time. Now you've got a clear path, and it's like wide, and it's smooth, and all the rocks are out of the way. And that's what it's like in your brain when you have these thoughts, and you reinforce the thoughts every day, and you build a new pathways. You tromp down those things, you make that easier, so the thought can just flow, and then it doesn't become a challenge anymore. And it's not hard to lift that. And you don't even think about overcoming these other things, these other challenges in life, like stress or anxiety or problems, and you can grab that power back in your life and not have that change how you show up as a person.
Yes,
like that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you this question. I don't know if you know about this, but I was actually in Miami in May actually, and I learned there about human behavior and how people make decisions. How does that come into play with making changes in your life? Do you know anything about that? How does that relate to the thing you were talking about, how people make decisions and changes that comes to their life?
Yeah, so I do. I know a lot about that. And what I focus on a lot is that subconscious. So we have conscious thought and subconscious thought. And the subconscious thought is 95% of what actually happens. So only 5% of the thought that actually happens is what we're aware of. I like to think of it like a ship. Like if we're like a ship, our conscious thought is the captain of the ship. The captain's up on top. The captain's looking out over the ocean. The captain's shouting out orders. The captain's responding to what's happening and controlling things. subconscious thought's the crew. They're executing everything under the ship. The things are happening without you even knowing it. They're taking care of the systems, the fuel. They're making sure that the ship's charted on the right course and that they're not off course. They're making sure it's not overheating. They're making sure all these things are happening, right? And that's like our subconscious and our body. But also too, if we can program our subconscious to go in the way that we are trying to go with change, it can actually help us to make massive change faster, because we have these programmings that start to look for it or identify it. And then our awareness becomes more aware in our conscious mind, and we can respond to it in a real life situation. What that looks like is, say a person who has limited wealth perspective or something like that. There's different flows. I call it flows, where people make money. You make this much money and you get this flow, and you make this much money and then you get this flow, and you're Elon Musk and you make this much. But it's a mindset, it's an awareness, and it's actually programming yourself through these different mental processes to be aware of that person. So when you have a change of mindset and you have a change of flow, and have a person who thinks they're poor, or who think they're of lack, they show up to an environment in a situation, and they meet a room of 50 people, and they meet all the people, but they mentally are in a place of lack, and they're unaware of the opportunities that are in that room. Now you have that middle flow person that's in a different state of mind, that has different programming. They've made different changes mentally to help support them to think differently. And they're in that same room of people, and they connect with people, and they see opportunities of things that they can close in their business or different things. So they have this next level of like understand, it's an awareness that the other person didn't even see. Because their subconscious programming didn't even show up that didn't show up for them. And then the third person in the third flow that has a different thing, their awareness, they're not even seeing the little deals, they're not even seeing the stuff, but they see a person, and their company is in a certain position, and they see that company's in a position, and they can make $100 million deal because they know someone that would acquire someone like so their mindset's in their subconscious programming, their awareness level is at a completely different state. And so we program ourselves by what we're able to deal with. And so the things that we come up to that we're willing to overcome and we get past, we expand into this new set of understanding, and we can deal with these new changes. But if we can actually go down to the base level and program ourselves to be who we want to be. That's the secret hack. To go program yourself to be who you want to be through meditation, through things like that, to program the subconscious to show up as the person that you want to be. Then your mental thought processes are looking for those opportunities. Then you go, then when you're at the party and you go, your buddy goes, hey, you want a shot? You go, you don't see that as an opportunity. You go, no, I've got this awesome meeting tomorrow. I appreciate you. Or whatever. I can't do that right now. Or whatever the scenario is. There's 50 billion different scenarios, but you actually recreate the way that your mind thinks, and your mind sees the world so that you make the change. And to me, that is like being the change. It's becoming the change. It's programming yourself to be and live the way that you want to live. So I don't know if that answered your question. I
like that. I really like what you said there. That was great. Yeah, that's because we often don't see we often don't see the vision before we make a decision, and that reflects on a big that reflects really big in our life after you make the decision, and then you see what actually happens, right? And so whether it's good or bad, right? And so one of the things I learned on early age is that before I even make a decision firmly, that I see the vision, and then after I see the vision, then I know what's my mind is going through. Because if I try to make a bad decision and I don't think about it, the circumstances is going to be bad, right? But if I try to make a good decision and move forward, and I see the vision, then it's going to be a good outcome. And so I have always lived by that. And so like I like how you said, like taking a shot, right? You don't expect it. You don't expect to take a shot, but after let's say he did take a shot, unless he had a game next day, then he would have hangover, right? And so I really like what you said there.
If he's not programmed to be someone who has something else happening in life, a person that
100%.
doesn't take a shot at the middle of the week or whatever. I'm not judging people to take shots, but like this is
Yeah,
just an example, But
yeah,
then he has no reason to say no.
100,
Then,
yeah,
then he's in this flow of mind state, to go, okay, yeah, let's do it, boom, let's do it all night long. Why not? Because that's the way I am. That's who
Yeah.
I am right now. If you show up that way. And so, yeah,
100%.
by understanding that, it's interesting because you can create these changes and it actually creates a massive, massive difference.
I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I feel like there's a when people, when someone's trying to get to a goal, or becoming successful, and they don't get to that goal, I feel like there is some kind of limited belief in in
Mhm.
themselves, telling them,
Yeah.
hey, I can't do this. There's so many things that I'm not able to do, I'm not capable of doing. But they don't see that they can actually learn, they can actually find a way to get to that goal, or get one step closer to that goal. And I feel like everyone needs to be aware of that limiting belief that they have,
Mhm.
and tackle that, and actually do the work, actually trust the process, and even asking other people for help, like getting support or mentorship, coaching, right? That's definitely going to help them as well. What do you think about that, Preston?
Yeah, no, that's totally true. And it all comes down to self-limiting beliefs. You
Yeah.
you hit it right on top of the head. And it's exactly right. And when you say that to people, they don't really understand those self-limiting beliefs, or I could think, this way or whatever. But it's actually true. And we all have self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
I work on raising the limits of my belief, all the time, to go, what's possible. And I'm a pretty optimistic, unlimited thinker here. But there's still limits, right? There's still limits that I build in my own mind that create these limits. And typically when they come from something, they come from fear. you know
Yes.
so like when you look at the core of all those limiting beliefs, they stem from the base of fear. And so, I'll give you an example I had happen where these people operate like fear so much. It's so prevalent in today's world. It's sad. It disables people. But I had this person that came to me. They wanted to build out a system with my company, Operations X. She had a vision, all these trainings, the things she wanted to do, and she wanted to take out the world. But she had a fear because she got burned in the past. She tried to do it before. Someone took advantage of her. They took her money, and so she was going to go launch this thing, but she had this stop that she was, that could happen again. And so she wouldn't do it again. So now she's waited half a year. Another half year is going. She hasn't done her launch. She doesn't trust anyone, and she's actually creating now all these stops in her life because of that self-limiting belief
Yeah.
that she created through going through that experience, where she's not able to make money. Her product's not built. Her people aren't being helped. Her dream is not actually happening, because of that self-limiting belief. So that's just a little example, but we create these self-limiting beliefs to go, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. Someone who you need a degree to do that, or you need a whatever, these things that we buffer so that you can be comfortable, right? You don't have to be uncomfortable. Say, no, I'm right. No, I can't do that. No, I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
I can't do that. There's someone else that can do that. You put that blame or that responsibility on someone else. But what's happening is you're giving away your power,
Yes.
giving away your power in life to be able to do anything. You're giving your power in life to respond or to be the person that you actually want to be. And by taking that extreme ownership, you can create or change anything in your life.
You can. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can definitely take control of your life too, and get
100%.
get to your goals, get to do anything you want, and become the person that you always wanted to become, right? So
100%.
I think everyone needs to stop limiting themselves from their belief, and go out there, get some help from other people, learn new things, and actually take action, right?
Yeah, I like that. I like this is a great session. We talked about so many things about mindset, and I went to this event. I think like 2 months ago, and people often don't invest themselves into mindset, right? I think mindset equals to asset, because the more knowledge you can gain, the more the more money you'll make, or the better you'll live, right? And so I will, whoever's watching this or listening to this podcast, I will definitely say, invest in yourself, invest into, programs where they teach you about mindset and really, because that will take you to the next level. Motivation comes and goes, but the mindset that you're going to have forever, it'll be there. And from that mindset, if you create a habit, that's something that you'll have for the rest of your life, right? And so, and right now we, me and Sogat are going to school. We go there to learn, right? Like Mark even says. Well, same thing applies to this. And so, I just want to say that, people who are listening to this, please, invest in yourself, learn about mindset and how you can control your future, because money is one thing. Money is a skill that, that it takes. If you want to make money, it takes a true skill to make that money, right? But then one of the other skills that you got to learn is mindset. And so, learn about mindset and really develop your brain to, push towards your goals and aspirations that you have for yourself. And then set a vision at the end of the day, because without a vision, you won't really reach far. And so, and that comes with the topic of mindset. So go out there, this is me saying to the listeners, go out there, invest in yourself and, just learn much as you can. But Preston, I wanted to ask you one thing. So what's one advice that you have for all the entrepreneurs out there, who are, not wanting to reach forward due to, these problems where they are not investing themselves into, topic like mindset and developing their brand of brain where they can really, do so much, but they can't because of that fear.
Mhm. Yeah, I know. I love what you said, too, Chris. It's true. Your mind, yourself is the most valuable asset that you have. Now, I learned that through my business journey. I built, a business. We're doing over $50 million a year. I was buying like 120 cars a week. So we were cranking, and then we had issues, and I was, having challenges. And I made the mistake of thinking that, the business was my success. And actually, I recognized and realized the difference. I was the creator of success in my life, and that I could recreate that anytime I wanted to. And by being that person that has that mind and that foundation, then the business didn't matter. And when I realized that, I multiplied myself, and I was able to go on and do, all these other things and expand and explode. And then I forgot the other part of your question that I was going to answer.
Yeah. So I say, like, what's advice that you can give to entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs,
the advice. So the advice. So they have the old adage, the saying, knowledge is power, right?
100%.
But that's actually a little bit misleading. Mm-hmm. And so what I want to encourage every listener out there to do is, knowledge is useless without action.
Yes.
So right now, you listener out there, choose one thing that you will do tomorrow morning. It's different than what you're doing today. Make a choice. Do not wait. Pick it right now, and pick something that's going to support you. Something that's going to support you to get to your goal. Some lifestyle change, some habit, something. Maybe you learn something. And we teach so my favorite thing is, to set up your foundation at the beginning of the day, morning routine. So a morning routine is the most powerful way that you can create yourself for the day. Because if you don't create a morning routine, then you're showing up and you're responding to life, and you're living a passive life. You're not living an active life. You're not creating your life. You're responding to whoever messages you, and then you're living that life. If you do a morning routine, you create your thoughts, you create your intentions, you create who you want to be for the day, and then you show up as that person, and you control the day. Because too much of life is responsive to social media and the things that people scroll through. I call it passive consumption, where you don't know what you're going to get. You're just fed by an algorithm or a TV network or something like that. So I say, do a morning routine and do 3 things: meditation, exercise, it's just movement, whatever level you're at, and personal study. A personal study where you can do something, and if you can deploy that in your life. But out of anything that we've talked about, most importantly, just pick something today and take action. Because I can teach you all the things in the world. I can teach you things that will literally change your life, and it doesn't mean anything until you apply it on the ground to what you're doing today, tomorrow, and the next day.
Yeah,
100%.
I really really like what you said. Take action, pick one thing and do that tomorrow, the next morning. And I feel like most people need to do something they feel uncomfortable doing, right? Something new that they haven't done before, and
Mhm.
that new thing can actually lead to something better. Like they can actually change their life, right? So I think everyone needs to do something uncomfortable that they haven't done before, because that one thing can actually big, become big and change your life, and make it successful. So I really really like what you said there. Do something different tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing, your poster kind of stands out a lot in the back, but there's a book there. Is that your book? Do you write books still?
Yeah, so I've got I wrote the book How to Be Up and Down Times. I co-wrote
Yeah.
that book. It's 40 tips on mind, soul, and body of just different things on how to live a better life. And there's a little something for everyone in it.
Hmm.
It covers a broad array of information. And then those other two books I have there uh, with Mark Victor Hansen, I wrote the training programs for those
Oh,
books, and I actually was a contributing author on the Ask. But so I wrote the Ask training program. We teach people how to be master askers, and I wrote the You Have a Book in You training program. So we teach people how to write a book and share their story with the world, because that's something that's really important to me, is for people to share their story in their voice, because everyone's opinion, everyone's voice matters. And the people that you talk to are different than the people I talk to. And the people that listen to you are different than the people that listen to me. But all this information is valuable. And together, by sharing it and writing it, recording it, we can uplift the world and make a difference for humanity generation. So
Right.
that's why I like books and all things. So yeah, thanks for asking.
Great. Yeah, of course. Great.
sounds great. Yeah. I was just gonna ask you, like, it's great that you wrote, these books, because you're not just helping you know one person, but you're helping multiple person depending on how they reach, this information. And and I just want to say that, like, as we're, I guess, coming to short on time, right, so God, or
Yeah,
yeah.
we are.
So yeah, I just want to ask you, Preston, um, like, what's one advice that you have, for all the people out there who are trying to achieve the next level in their life, whether it's finance, whether it's relationship, whether it's, their mindset, right? Like, what's something that, you have for them, that one piece of advice? I know you already gave that one, earlier, but this is all about, you know, relationship, business, how, like, what's one advice, and how can entrepreneurs, or someone who has a business, can manage all of these things around themselves?
Yeah, so whatever it is that you're doing out there, or whatever it is that you want to do as a person, or as an entrepreneur, as an occupation, find that alignment, find that internal alignment within
Right.
yourself.
Mhm.
So what that looks like is figuring out first, what's important to you, what's important to your priorities, what's your mode of operating for life, and take out everyone else's opinion, take out everyone else's, societal, trends, stuff, whatever. If you want to be, a butterfly that lives in the Amazon, whatever, reality out the window. Yeah, but figure out, who you are as a person, and that alignment, and then bring that connection into what you do every day. It is, what is that core purpose, and how can you do what you do every day to build and fulfill your core purpose as a person. Because if you know what your core purpose is as a person, you can fulfill that. Then when you go to work, you won't feel tired, you won't feel exhausted. When you have these challenges that hit you in life, you'll be able to keep on going, keep on pushing back, and you go, no, you won't go, this sucks, I quit, I'm throwing it in the towel.
Right.
And you can push past it.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so great advice. So I think we're gonna be wrapping up, right?
Yeah.
So before we do that, if you wanna, give some information about where our audience can find more information about you, and maybe reach out to you for help if they want some help from you.
Yeah,
Talk
absolutely.
about that.
So yeah, you can come to me, check us out at formulaeq.com. So we teach, EQ is the emotional quotient. So everyone knows the IQ, Einstein, genius. We teach EQ, the emotional quotient. The IQ is the intellectual quotient. And so we'll build your EQ, we'll make you an EQ genius, and we'll build that skill that creates 90% of success in entrepreneurs. So you can go to formulaeq.com, accompany.com. Check us out. Message us and you come and visit for free and see the academy and see what we do and experience one of our events, and people can join and support their lives and have a support system. Have 2 live coaches every single week that not only introduce life-changing topic that's going to improve and enhance their life, but also somewhere where they can ask questions, where they can take their challenges that they're dealing with in life or as an entrepreneur, because it's one life. You know, work life, they say work-life balance, it's all life. It's life. You
Yeah.
wake up at home, you go to work, you know, and you go back to home, and the problems transfer between each other. Problems at work go home, the problems at home go to work. You know, so it's one life. So you live that balanced life, create this whole life of powerful people that can create and live the life they want to live. And if you want support that, go to formulaeq.com. If anyone wants a free invite, they can text Preston to the number 321-421-5213. So if you type in 321-421-5213, and then just type in
Yeah,
Preston, and
we'll
I'll get
also,
you a free invite. Yeah.
we'll also put it down below as well, Preston, for you on the link on our thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. So yeah, I no, I I really enjoyed everything you said. I
Yeah.
loved it, and I love the way you think, and you're an awesome guy, and so hopefully we'll meet soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, guys. It was great to talk to you. And you, viewer out there, go do something. Go take action.
I
Go
will.
change your life. Everyone out there needs to do it because you just sat here and listened to us for a while, and so now you got to do the action part. You got to learn
Right.
and do the action.
All right. Well, Preston, thanks so much for your valuable lesson today, your experience and everything like that. We appreciate you coming to our podcast, and we hope to talk to you soon again.